Hi, everyone, and welcome. And thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to join us today. My name is Sandy Elson, and on behalf of the travel professional community and travelprofessionalnews.com, I want to welcome all of you to today's webinar, and I know you'll be happy that you're here. We have a really exciting and helpful presentation for you today, hosted by Passport Online. Passport Online is the industry leader in delivering comprehensive digital marketing solutions to travel agents. This includes websites, email marketing tools, and social media programs, all geared to work for and with the travel agent community. Our speaker today is Amanda Cabeceras, Social Media, Business Development, and Marketing Coordinator for Passport Online. Amanda's topic is a website designed to match your needs. Before we get started, a reminder that we welcome your questions. You can type in your questions at any time in the question area you see on the right-hand panel of your screen. When Amanda is finished with her presentation, we'll get to as many questions as we can. So now I'm going to turn the microphone over to Amanda so she can get started. Welcome, Amanda.
Thank you, Sandy. We are so excited to be here. I'm actually joined today by Jacob Johnson. He is a member of our team who actually builds all of our websites. So kind of what we're doing today is we're going to be talking a lot about websites, obviously, and really what it means to have a website that's designed to fit you and your unique business. And I kind of at the last minute, we made the decision to pull Jacob in here because he talks websites all day long, and he really has been tasked with building and growing and improving our website program over the past couple of years. We thought it'd be great to have him kind of share some of his works and give us a little bit of his expertise as well. And he'll be really helpful in the Q&A portion. So we're going to talk again about what it means to have a website designed to fit your needs. And building a website or selecting a website provider that can help you stand out from the crowd can really be an overwhelming task. It is, however, critically important to have a unique digital presence for your customers. The type of website you need varies tremendously from business to business, and you should be allowed to tailor your site to fit your needs. We talk to a lot of different people about websites every day, and there's so many different levels of involvement that happen. So some people, they choose to be really hands-on in their process, and some people simply want a turnkey website because they understand that they need a digital presence. And, there really isn't a wrong answer in this instance, but the one thing that remains the same regardless of the level of involvement you want to have is that your website needs content that represents you and your business. You really don't want to have that cookie cutter site. You want to make sure that people can visit it and understand exactly who you are. So in past webinars, we've talked a lot about content and how important it is to have great content on your website. So today we're really going to focus on just that, and we're going to talk about specifically like how different content can help tailor your website to represent you and your business. So quickly, we're going to go over our agenda. So to start today, we're going to discuss the purpose of your website. So why do you have a website? That's a really good place to start. And then we're going to touch on what helps make your website unique and stand out from the crowd. Some of those characteristics that we're going to discuss are modern design, supplier content, and then personalized content. So we'll touch on those a little bit deeper. And then finally, we're going to talk a bit about the different website programs Passport Online has available to you. If you've seen our websites before, I urge you to hang out with us today because they have changed tremendously. We've been working really hard on updating the look and feel as well as the functionality for you and your business. And then finally, we are going to announce a really exciting new website product that we are adding to our family of products at the very end of this week. It's actually being announced today at the ASTA conference, so we thought we would give you a sneak peek as well. And that's kind of what Jacob's going to do, is he'll share a bit about that because this has been his big project. So we'll just get started. So just yesterday, I had a conversation with an agent who said she was looking to start a website, but was really just overwhelmed and wasn't sure where to start. So before we get too far into this, I kind of wanted to start with the basics. And a really good place to start when you're starting to build your website is really just deciding what the purpose of your website is. And what I mean by this is ask yourself what you're hoping to get out of your website and what your goals are. A lot of people start a website simply because they know they should have one, but aren't exactly sure why. And if you start with that approach, you're really going to end up overwhelmed or not satisfied with the end product. So it's important to start at the beginning and decide, again, what you want to accomplish with your website. So there's tons of purposes your website can have. We're just going to share some of the most basics. So one of the main purposes is your website provides an online presence that helps to legitimize your travel agency. So we've talked about this before in why you should have a website. But one of the first things you do, or I do personally, when I hear about a new business is I Google them. I look up their website, I maybe check their social media, I look for reviews. But having that web presence really helps legitimize that business. This extends beyond travel agencies. If I search a company and I find nothing on them, I might be a bit hesitant or not really sure. I'll do this even with restaurants. If you're going to a new restaurant, I like to check out the menu. I like to see what they have to offer. Same if I'm visiting a brick and mortar or doing business with a company that I haven't done before. I like to be able to do kind of that pre-shopping or window shopping or research ahead of time. And if you find someone who doesn't have that web presence or also maybe has a bad web presence that's not up to date, it really could cause your customer to do some pause and, not confidently jump into doing business with you. Your website also helps introduce yourself and build your brand. So you're trying to stand out from the crowd and not just be any other online agency. You're selling yourself on being a personalized small business owner. So it's important to use your website to tell potential clients about you, who you are, what you do, what you specialize in, and what you can offer them. Let them get to know you and your company so they'll want to call you for their next trip and they'll feel that connection with you. The third purpose of your website is to show your products you offer and also your in-depth knowledge. So perhaps you put groups or specific tours together. Your website is a fantastic place to showcase current or past itineraries. It's also a really great place to have a blog or share your personal travel adventures. This is just really to help showcase you as the expert and showcase your specialties and what you can offer travelers. And then finally, your website allows customers to research. With preloaded content on your site, your clients can research destinations, suppliers, ships, and different types of trips on their own before or after contacting you. And this just allows them to kind of do that pre-research and, lets them help, feel like they've had all the options and they have all the information before they make this really important purchase. So now we're going to switch into what it means to have a unique website, and a unique website that's as unique as your agency. I'm not sure if I could have said unique more in that sentence, but we'll give it a try. So there's a lot that goes into having a unique website, but I'd encourage all of you to take a second and do some inventory of your website. Go shop your website as if you're a customer that's never been there before. And then as you're doing that, think about it as this. If you were a first-time visitor and you were a customer that had not done business with you and you'd never met, by looking at your website, would you be able to tell exactly who you are as a business, what your specialties are, and what kind of value you can add to their trip or their purchase that they're about to make? So these are the three characteristics we're going to discuss in more detail. So the first is modern design, the second is supplier content, and then the third and most important is personalized content to represent your unique business. So what we're going to do in the next couple of slides for the remainder of the webinar actually is we're just going to go over some real life living examples just to show you different ways and to kind of inspire you of different ways you can tailor your website to personalize it to showcase you as an agency. So modern design, we're going to start here. There's a lot of interpretation of what modern design is. It's important that the website represent your tastes and styles, but also consider some of the more popular characteristics of a modern website. The design of your website is the first thing people see, and this will ultimately create their first impressions and really guide them to deciding whether or not they want to do business with you. An effective travel website should activate the travel bug with vibrant imagery in the form of big, beautiful images. And while photos can do a lot of the work in inspiring visitors, a travel site can't accomplish its purpose without a great design. In 2018, website designs are leaning towards a very clean, minimalistic layout, and adding to that, websites should be straightforward and easy to navigate. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pull up a couple sites that I have ready to go that kind of just represent this. And at this point, I'm going to invite Jacob to join us if he has any kind of opinion. But so what I really like about this website is that it's really clean and simple. You can see there's, not a lot of extra on the homepage. It's clean, simple, and very easy to navigate. So you can see these tabs up here. People can find exactly what they're looking for. The agency specialties are listed right over here. And then the color palette's also really easy on the eye. So they do use those big, beautiful images, but in a different, kind of less expected way. So the images are back here, and then also these icons are representing things that might normally just be a hyperlink or, text with an underline. So this really just gives a more visual, like, kind of exploration experience. So the next, this is actually one of my favorite websites that Passport Online has worked on recently. So this is an agency that specializes in European travel, and you can see that based off of the images that have been chosen. And again, these are just big, beautiful images. This is really eye-catching. If I logged in as a first-time user and this is someone I was looking to do business with, I would be impressed at this point. I can see what I'm looking for. This allows me to do some kind of research or some window shopping, if you will, different categories. Where I've been, I can learn a bit about the agent if I want to. And then again, just a really clean layout. Here are some of their, destinations that they specialize in, and then a little video to tell more about them. So again, really simple, really clean navigation. You can find out more about them by visiting their social media channels and then contact information, of course.
One thing that's really important to kind of think about when you're thinking about designing your website is we talk a lot about content, and we talk a lot about telling your story, but it's equally important to have your story be seen. And you do that through kind of curated and high-level visual language. You can tell that on this website and on the last website, there are things about them that kind of instructed your eyes to go certain places and pulled you into certain parts of the website. And those things typically aren't going to be the text anymore. So one thing to really consider is, telling your story is one thing, but how do you live your story? And how do you let customers know when they walk into your digital space that they're living your story? For example, if you were to go to a mall and you saw a website or a store like Hollister or something, you would know kind of what they're all about by the way that they present their storefront. They're saying with like a hot topic or something of that nature.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah, and since a lot of travel agencies at this point are operating, there's obviously still brick and mortar, but also not brick and mortar, or even if you are, people might still be finding you online. So people are finding you in different ways, and so there's an importance to adjust to that. So I've got one more just with modern design. And again, this actually really plays to Jacob's point of telling the story visually versus with words. So there's actually no text on the homepage. You can go through and learn more about this agency on the customer service page, but you can really see and learn and explore just by these images. And they're really modern images. It's a really clean layout, not a lot of extra fuss on the page. Just really clean and simple. Again, the colors are all super vibrant, big, beautiful images, and this is just interesting. You could look at this page for quite a while, and there's actually not a lot of text. So it's just interesting. It kind of brings you in a different way. So next, we are going to move on to supplier content. And we're always talking about supplier content on these webinars, and we think it's so important that your website includes shoppable content. It's actually an interesting timing. So there's been quite a few webinars recently about kind of these same topics. Like what is a website for your website be customized? And some of them have touched on shoppable content and supplier content. And I've heard some opinions where you don't even need to have shoppable content or not to have it. And I just can't disagree with this enough, basically. People want something that they can come and browse, and they want something to interact with. And that, if you think about why they're coming to you to purchase travel. So there should be something. That doesn't mean they need to book through your website. That's totally fine that they don't. But there should be content, and it allows you to kind of give the impression of just having all of this content available to you. Like I said, your customers may not be looking to book directly on your site, but you need to provide a platform for them to begin kind of daydreaming and browsing. And shopping sessions can range from passive window shopping to shopping with the intention of purchasing. But what you want to do is you want to make all of that available to everybody. Give them the tools to create the experience that that particular shopper is looking for in that instance. So because of that, we think you should have a wide variety of options. You might have preferred suppliers you can guide them to. You can even tailor that on your website, but your customers should feel like they have plenty of options to get exactly what they're looking for. In the Passport Online websites actually have content from over 100 leading cruise and tour providers, and you can go through, we'll talk about that a little bit more in a bit, but you can actually go through and highlight your preferred suppliers. You can get all of your consortia exclusives. You can filter and limit suppliers, so you can choose exactly what displays on your site. This website here is Larry. He's a good friend of Passport Online. And so here's an example of just this, actually. So he's a cruise-only site, and luxury cruise is his specialty. So what he actually has done is he's gone through and he's hand-selected all of the suppliers that he would like to display on his website. So he's restricted it, so those are the only suppliers that will display, and he's kind of organized how they display on the website. But you can see that he's done that. So, and then also he's a member of Virtuoso. So here he's actually highlighted all of the Virtuoso voyages, and we can do that with many different consortia and get those exclusives as well. But this is shoppable supplier content. This allows your customers to have something to browse. And in another slide, I'm going to get into this in a little bit more detail just so you can understand exactly what that content looks like and how it's laid out in a really kind of professional way. And so one thing that's important, if you're adding all of this supplier content to your website, you need to give your clients a way to navigate through this. And so you need to have straightforward search filters. They should be straightforward and easy to use, and people should be able to put in any or all of the information they have available and come back with some expected results. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you what a search would actually look like. So a couple other things when it's coming to supplier content, it's not simply enough to just have supplier content on your site. You need to make sure that you have it's inclusive to all of the offers that are available from that supplier, because you don't want somebody to go, look somewhere else and say, I found this other offer on their website. So Passport Online, we get the content directly from the supplier, so we're able to control that. So it's everything that they have live on their website, so you don't have to worry about that. And then pricing is the same as well. The other thing that we see a lot on websites is people will actually have expired content. And that's kind of, we cringe at that a little bit here, to be totally honest. So you just don't want to have expired content on your site. You want to make sure that you're going through and taking the time. And if you do have offers that you've kind of created custom and added to your site, make sure that they aren't expired. So the cool thing about the content on our websites is we go through that work for you. So all of the content that's coming through these searches that we're about to do, we manage that, so you won't have any out-of-date content. So it's just kind of doing the work for you to make sure you're always looking like you're on top of it as far as that goes. And then you do have the option to add in, if you have special tours and trips and things like that, you can add in that additional content. But we're just going to focus on this Passport Online provided content and like itineraries and things. So basically, here's just a basic search box, and then you can also go into the detailed search for a little bit more. So these fields are kind of expected. They're what a customer, just a regular consumer, might be looking for. And so how they're designed to work in such a way that a customer could have very detailed amount of information and get back those results. And then I can also just want to do maybe do a broad search and just look for kind of a less specific, like I know, for instance, I want to go to the Caribbean, let's say. And that's kind of all I know. So I could add in, different travel types if I wanted to do that, sub-travel types if I wanted to get more specific, the date of time, my price range per person, vendors, all of these, so I have lots of options here. But again, I don't have to use all of those options as well. So we're just going to do a broad search just so you can see. So the other thing that's important is once you do the search, you want to make sure that that content is returned in kind of the same language that you gave it the information. So what I mean by that is all of those same search criteria that were on that first page are available here. So I can continue filtering my search results and kind of customizing and editing them. I got almost 2,400 results, which is a lot to go through, but so I can actually go through and continue filtering this down and exploring and learning. So I'm going to go ahead.
One thing I would want to bring, before we kind of move on from content, the last thing I would really want to add is to really reinforce what Amanda said, is there is such a high value on curated content. And you have to remember that a lot of this information, if a customer really wanted to just get these facts and move on, they could go to like a travel.com or something like that. The reason they're coming to you is because they want a personal touch or they want a specialized touch. So curating that content and showing them that you're not just kind of a general selection shop and you're more specialized is really going to help with your own personal story as well as retaining customers when they're on your website.
Exactly. We're going to do a little bit more on what supplier content is actually before we go on. And this kind of talks a little bit about what I was touching on before and how it's really important to have kind of up-to-date pricing, no expired offers. So accurate pricing with up-to-date inventory. And if you're going to have offers on your website, you need to have inventory with clear pricing, no expired offers, like I said, and I'll say again, and then no hidden fees, because nothing makes a visitor leave quicker than unexpected charges and taxes. So prices need to be up to date and not going to be out of date and expired. So I'm going to show you a little bit about what that looks like as well. And so these are those Passport Online offers again. So here, all of the taxes are really explicitly called out. The pricing starts at $249 USD per person. This is a non-refundable deposit. I can see different pricing starting for different categories. And then if we actually click into more details, I can get more details of exactly what I'm looking at here. So here's what that promo that was attached to that. I can get details on that. And then kind of just to show you what's available is that there's also just some more information about this particular sailing that goes with that, like kind of up-to-date inventory, and it helps paint that full picture. So there's deck plans. Oftentimes there's images of the staterooms. Yeah, you can see right here, so your customer can kind of really get a really robust browsing and shopping experience. And then this will make it so they don't go somewhere else to kind of verify it, because you have all of that information, and it's such a rich shopping tool. And it just kind of shows them all their options, lets them explore all of the information. And again, all of this comes directly from the different suppliers. So now we're going to move on to kind of my favorite topic of this presentation. So it's the most important thing you can do. Your website should be personalized to represent you and your unique business. Cookie cutter sites do exist, but we don't believe you should have one. Every agency is unique in that you have your own specialties, focuses, and preferences. So Passport Online does have a template-based website program, and that allows us to charge you a really reduced setup fee and a lower monthly fee than you'll find in a lot of places. But within those templates, there's so much customization and personalization available that you can really show your own personal touch and highlight what's important to you. So some of the kind of different topics you can do, and definitely not limited to any of these. We can highlight destinations, suppliers, if you sell luxury travel, cruise, tours, student travel, all of these. So what I'm going to do is just go through a couple examples of some newer sites that do a really good job of showing this and highlighting their specific kind of travel niches, just to like give you an idea of how they are using content, and I mean content in the form of images, different menu items, and then supplier content as well, how they're using content to tell their story and give a really good picture to their customers of exactly who they are. So we are just going to go through a couple of these. So this travel agency is actually unique in that they specialize in African travel. So there's a couple things I wanted to call out. So I could go through every page of all of these, so it will save you guys a little bit of time on that. So there's a couple different things to call out here. So you can see that same search box, but one really cool thing that they've done is they've actually really limited the content down. So the only destinations that are displaying are African destinations that they want to show content to. So that's something you have control over. So if you're not an expert at, or if you are an expert at something, you should really highlight that expertise and give your personal touch to that. So you can see here. And then really cool, so discover things to do in Africa. So each of these images is a clickable link, as you can see, again, using visual images to kind of tell the story versus this could easily just be a list of text, but this is so much more interesting to look at and engage with. And then, so you can see there's so many, and this is just cool. If you looked at this, these are really beautiful images. We can, let's see, let's just select one, and you can see, so what each of these are going to be backed with is just more of that content, and that is specific to those destinations or the destination that we just clicked on. Here's another agent. So I'm going to show you a couple now that highlight different suppliers. So this particular agency actually has several websites, and most of them are supplier specific, so we're going to look at one of those as well. But what he's done on these, instead of, in the areas where he's having visuals, these are actual offers from the suppliers. So he got these directly from the suppliers, and we helped him integrate them into the website. And these are just kind of special exclusive offers. You can see more here that he is showing, and then he very clearly highlighted and called out his preferred cruise lines, his preferred tour operators, and his preferred inclusive vacations. So again, you could click on all of these and go to more content just for that particular supplier. Here's an example of one of those websites. You can see it's Cruisosity as well. So he has several of these sites that are built to highlight specific suppliers. So this is his Uniworld site. So there's no content on this site that's not Uniworld. So he can highlight, there's, the specials that he wants to highlight in here, last minute deals. And it's just pretty cool because every offer that we'll display is tailored to be just that supplier. So that's just an idea of how you can kind of tailor it down. Obviously, you can be, there's the right answer for your agency. And again, we're just showing you different ways that people have used these tools to really highlight their specialties in their agency. So here's another example. We're going to talk about suppliers in this one. So this agency has done a good job of kind of highlighting what we've talked about so far. So different destinations, these are the ones they specialize in. These are the types of travel they specialize in. Again, each of these would link to, customized packages, groups, honeymoons, types of travel that fit that. And, there's limitless options in what these categories could be. But one thing I wanted to show you is that they have actually turned on these pages that highlight these particular suppliers. There's a couple of these available, and some of them you can actually book directly through if you wanted to. But here's just a really rich page highlighting this supplier. So if you did a search on this page, it would pull back just Globus offers. Here's a video, some information. So again, there's so many different ways to highlight your suppliers that you choose to work with if you wanted to do it that way. Next, we're going to change gears a little bit into a site that specializes in luxury travel. And so what they've chose to have a really clean website. They picked colors that go with their logo and things like that to just really represent what luxury is to them. And again, they're using those big, beautiful images to tell the story and have really limited content down on the lower half of the page, basically. And so you can see these different offers, their bucket list, they have a partnership with a chauffeur company, and then weekend getaways. So many different choices that you can do here. So I just have a couple more examples for you guys. Here we are again we're looking at Luxury Cruise Ace. Again, this is a cruise-only site. So although there's cruise and tour and vacation content available, this site has been restricted to only display cruise content. So you can do that either direction. You can go through and kind of hand pick and curate that content. Your specialty doesn't need to be luxury cruises. It can be any types of cruises, and you could build a site around that. Again, if you went to the site and you were a customer, you knew what you know who you're dealing with at this point. He specializes in luxury cruises, and again, he's handpicked the suppliers he would like to have content for and displaying. And then really cool, if you go into each of these pages, there's images of the ships. There's a bit of information about that particular supplier, and then there's a video as well. So this has the feel of a very kind of curated website. And so this is an example of a very involved hands-on process of this website. And he really had a say in every detail because these are the suppliers that he really wants to work with. So other things you can do is if you have groups, you can highlight groups. This is a really unique kind of niche website. So they actually do salience for first responders, and it's kind of like an academy. So they'll actually create groups that go on these CE cruises. Let me see if I can find an example of one. So these are their kind of handmade or created flyers that they've added in for their first responder sailings. You can see cruise itineraries and rates, what's happening on the sailing, things like that, so people can actually go on and they can get credits for their first responder courses. And then here's another one, it's a totally different direction. This agency specializes in Irish music tours. So our point here is that whatever your niche is and whoever you are as a business, your website should represent that. Like you have a very clear idea of who this agency is and what they're working on. Here's another really cool example of that. So Deb at Be Well Travel, she specializes, again, has just that really clean minimalist layout, very little on her page. It is nice and open and airy and really represents also what she's selling as a company. So she does yoga cruises and retreats, wine cruises, craft beer cruises, all the fun stuff. And you can actually click into any of these and sign up for these trips that she has created and get more information as well. So again, super easy navigation. There's not a ton of extra information. It's just really what Be Well Travel sells. And I think I have 2 more examples for you. Promise. So here's another one, different look and feel, but what's cool about this one, and I'm actually going to let Jacob talk about this, so they have, the same kind of navigation up here. These are the specialties they're choosing to focus on. You can search for vacation deals here, but they have this kind of custom content that Jacob's going to tell you a little bit about.
Yeah, so basically they like working with animal-related charities and different animal services, pet services. So instead of having this be a tab or, having it be just a piece of text here, we spent, 5 minutes, finding a cool picture, putting this together, and, you create something here that immediately pulls you to the eye. So if you're coming, if we're starting at the top of the website and you're coming down and you're just, general customer, you're not even thinking about this, all of a sudden you're thinking about it just by some very subtle things that we positioned here are going to really pull the eye in. And then, of course, this would link to a page that would just have some information like that. But, it really depends on how deep you want to get into this stuff. That's kind of the beauty of this site and, Luxury Cruise Ace that we saw earlier is the cool thing about these websites is they give you as little or as much as you give back to them. So you could, you could spend 6 months working on a website or you could spend 2 weeks and you'll still get something cool.
Yeah, and we have many people that we work with that really just want they want a nice, clean website, and they have a little bit of information they want to put on it, and their site can be live in just a very small number of business days, and then it's just done. Kind of set it and forget it, and then we update the content for you, and that's just taken care of. So finally, my last example is going to be this one to kind of bring it all together as well. So you don't need to have just one specialty. We can highlight many specialties, or you can highlight many specialties on your site. So this agency has, there's several specialties that they focus on, and so what they've done is they've highlighted all of these here. Again, they have the kind of basic navigation tools up here, but the things they've really chosen to highlight are these custom boxes down here that we've created for them. And so you can click into all of these, and each of these have a custom page. I mean, this is just beautiful stuff.
One thing I really want to call out on this website is the buttons that they selected. So those are actually, they play into their brand. You'll notice up at the top, hats off is part of their logo, and we were able to, with their help, they gave us as part of the logo, and we were able to create buttons based off of that. So that's just another example of using a visual language to kind of, to show your story.
And so you can just navigate through here, and you can see all the different topics. Again, I can get through this through the navigation on the home page, but you can really tell that they've taken the time to curate these images, and there's a lot of personal touches into this. And so you can really, say vow renewal, all the different things that they specialize in are all here. So content can take form in a lot of different ways, and it really helps tell the story of who you are as an agency. So finally, to wrap this up for you all, I'm going to talk a little bit about the 3 different website programs Passport Online offers. And obviously we encourage you to kind of explore these website programs with Passport Online, but more than anything, I would encourage you to take some time after this and go shop your own website. I say that on every webinar. Go shop your own website. Make sure that you are representing yourself as a business. And if maybe you're too close to it and you've looked at it too many times, ask a friend. Ask a friend who might not know that side of your business and just say, like, what do you think of my website? And get their honest opinion and, about who you are as a company, if it's really accurately telling your story. So really briefly, we have some time for some questions. We're going to talk about our different website programs. We have our Next Site 2, Vacation Port, Next Site Independent, and then also Next Site 2 for host agencies. So Next Site 2, I'm not going to spend too much time on because that is everything we've been looking at today. So our Next Site 2 has a bunch of new modern designs, layouts, themes, and color choices. You have access to our image gallery. We've taken the time to curate images for you that are safe to use on your website. Has those shopping engines, shopping tools, our destination guides. All of our websites are mobile friendly, have SEO capabilities, and then you also get integrated email marketing tools, which is we're actually on the 13th of September launching a brand new series of email marketing tools, which will be really cool. You can personalize your website in lots of different ways, and then you get all of that supplier content as well. Next up is our Vacation Port website program. So Vacation Port is kind of best shown. So if you already have a website, you've built a website elsewhere, but you really wanted to add in that supplier content we were looking for or looking at earlier, Vacation Port's a really good option. You do need to have a little bit of experience. Either you built your website yourself or you have a webmaster that can help you build your website. But so this obviously is a website that was built by a company that does custom web designs, and I'll show you what they've done with it. So all of these are actually backed by some Passport Online supplier content. So I'm going to perform a search so you can see exactly what that means. So again, so they've taken a website built elsewhere and then integrated that supplier content in kind of a seamless way. So I just clicked on Europe, and so now these are all the Viking Europe specials. So you can recognize these search boxes. If I go into more details, it should look familiar to that content we were looking at earlier. So those are 2 different website programs that are available there. The third, and this is the one we are so excited to announce, we are launching a new website program, so it's Next Site Independent. So this actually has a lot of the same kind of look and feels of those other website programs, but it's a bit more locked down, and so you don't have the options of all of that, customization. You can add in your agency logo, some homepage content up here. I'll show you. I've got an example for you. But so this is going to be at a reduced rate. I think it's about $25 a month. There will be a smaller setup fee as well associated with this. But this is really meant for those like kind of ICs that you need a website, you need access to supplier content, and you don't really, know where to start, or you don't want to take the time to do it. This is just a really beautiful, clean website. It's professional. It's put together. All of these boxes will be backed by that same kind of content, newsletter sign up, you can enter a sweepstakes, contact our supplier, or our destination content. And so this is launching this week. I believe tomorrow or the next day is what we've decided on here. So if you wanted more information about this, again, there's going to be a $25 setup fee, and then the website will just be $25 a month. If you want more information, type Nextsite Independent into the chat box, and then we'll actually get you some information on this program specifically as soon as it's ready to sign up. They're announcing this today, I believe, at ASTA. So you guys are kind of the first to get your eyes on this. We've added some of our most popular pages here, and then this content here. And actually, Jacob has worked really closely with this. So do you have anything else you wanted to say about this?
Yeah, so basically, this site was built with the idea of the fact that I build websites for agents and companies of all different shapes and sizes, and based off the feedback they've given me over creating their websites and kind of what I've learned and picked up along the way, this website was meant to be for the agent that, is so busy selling they don't have time to work on their website. So we've got you covered. And one more thing to touch on the 3 product lines here, and I'm very excited to announce this to you as well, is that by fall of 2018, Nextsite 2, Vacation Port, and Nextsite Independent will all be SSL compliant and will have the option to add security certificates to your domain.
Oh yeah, that's a big project our team has been working on here. We've gotten a lot of requests for that. So if you have any questions on that, you can definitely reach out to us and we can give you some more information on that as well. We're just going to touch on this really briefly. We also have a website program for host agencies. We have 2 different options that allow hosts to offer websites at discounted rates to their to their agents. If you want more information on this, contact us, and Cynthia, our sales manager, would love to talk you through all the different options. So I'm going to wrap it up there. We would love to hear from you if you have any questions, if you're interested in learning more about any of these products. Here is our contact information here. And thank you all so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Amanda and Jacob. That was really fabulous. Those websites are absolutely gorgeous. To our agents, if you have questions, this is a good time to type them in. And Amanda, when you take a look at the questions, you'll see many people are requesting information about Nextsite Independent. So it's in the question area. One of our agents just wants a summary of what the different websites cost, because it went by kind of fast.
Sure. So our Nextsite 2, which is what we looked at today, that's the one that gives you a lot of personalization and customization. There's a one-time setup fee of $250, and then that's $55 per month. And then Vacation Port has that same setup fee of $250 per month, and then a monthly fee of $45.75. And then Nextsite Independent is going to have a one-time setup fee of $25, and then will be $25 a month. And then the host agency, that would be kind of a one-off conversation with Cynthia based off of your specific needs.
Okay, fantastic. One agent wants to know if the price includes email.
So only for the Nextsite 2 program. So what that includes with that $55 a month is you do get 5 email addresses through our web server. There's a couple restrictions on them. They have 100 megabyte inbox limits, and they are using the POP3 format, which means that it's kind of the older email format where it doesn't sync between like a phone, a laptop, and a computer, for example. It downloads to each client individually.
Okay, great.
And if you have questions on that, you can contact Jacob, and he's sort of the expert, and he can help you understand if that's what's right for you.
Yeah, and I also want to add that if we don't get to your question or you think of something afterwards, there's a phone number and an email address that Amanda and Jacob have left up on the screen, so please jot them down before the end of the webinar. And Amanda, I totally agree with you that the most off-putting thing is going to a supplier website today, for example, and it says, here are our tours for 2017. That's
Yeah, we see it all the time, and we'll find sites that have content from like 2014, and it's such a simple thing. You know your website is kind of existing out there, and if you're not looking at it all the time, it's such a simple thing to overlook. But if I'm visiting it for the first time as a potential customer, it makes you wonder, like, are they still in business?
right,
Like,
exactly.
what happened here? There's still a lot of questions that you kind of wonder.
And coming back to my store analogy from earlier, if you left your sale pricing up on your storefront, you would be expected to honor that price. So always kind of think about your website like your digital store.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing like content. You wouldn't go to a store in the mall that had nothing to sell.
Yeah.
Same thing. You wouldn't go to a store that had too much to sell that didn't feel specific. Just kind of think of it in that terms, and I think that really helps people a lot with kind of treating it that way.
Exactly.
I think that's great. And also, if you have outdated information, I would get the impression that you're not very detail oriented. So I would have to
And
think twice.
people are making a big purchase with you, and our vacation time is a valuable time. And, you would want someone to really take the time to care that much.
Exactly. We want someone to pay attention.
Exactly.
One of our agents wants to know if you also offer blogs.
So we don't offer blogs as a native tool. We do offer support for the Next Site 2 platform and then probably for Vacation Port as well, where we can integrate a blog for you, like using a WordPress blog or a Blogger, Squarespace, anything like that. We can certainly integrate those onto your website.
Okay, excellent. And just one more point of interest before we wrap up. It's true, is it not, that agents have to be very careful if they are adding photographs on their own, if they're not supplied by a supplier or if they don't own them. Do you not have to be very careful about the ownership of those photos?
That's 100% correct. So one thing that agents have run into, people just basically building websites have run into kind of historically for the last 15 years is grabbing images where they can't verify the license and they can't verify the ownership. And a lot of times there are companies like Getty and they're like Shutterstock who own the licenses for these photos, and if they find it, they can come after you and charge you a fine in addition to having you remove the photo from your website. So it's a whole mess that you just don't want to get into.
Mm-hmm.
However, there was one thing I'll kind of let you guys in on a secret here, and I'd say write this part down, is there are websites now that use a license called CC0. And what that means is that the license is open for commercial use, and those are the kind of pictures that we use for our websites. And if you do a Google search, and kind of just look around, you can find many different websites that are file repositories that deal exclusively in those CC0 licenses.
Oh, that's really good to know. So CC0 are okay for us to use on our websites?
Correct. And you'll notice that right when you're reading the kind of like the licensing is usually kind of right up top or in a very obvious place that it'll say this is able to be used for pretty much at all.
Oh, that's great information. Thank you for that, Jacob.
Yeah.
And again, if you think of a question that we did not get to ask, please do contact Passport Online, and I'm sure they will be happy to give you all the information. So again, our wonderful host today has been Passport Online, and our speakers have been Amanda Cabaceres, Social Media, Business Development, and Marketing Coordinator, and Jacob Johnson. I'm not sure of your actual title, Jacob, but you're obviously a web designer and guru for Passport Online. So thank you so much for both of you.
It changes so much that works.
You nailed it.
It's more of a job description than a title, I guess. So thank you both so much. This has been really great information. We appreciate it.
Thank you all so much for joining us. Thanks for having us, Sandy.
Sure.
Have a great day.
And I'll add my thanks to our agents again for taking time out of your day to visit us today. I'm sure you got a lot out of this, as did I. So enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.